Most people start planning a trip without the number that really matters. Any guesses what it is? What the trip will actually cost. So then they end up guessing and overspending. I'm Teresa from An Acre in the City, and I've visited all 50 states and traveled to over 80% of the National Park Service sites. I've learned that road trip costs are predictable if you know the buckets and the daily number. Today I'll show you how to build a real budget in about 15 minutes. No spreadsheets and no guessing. If budgeting has ever stressed you out or caused an argument, grab my free stress-free road trip guide. It includes the simple systems I use to avoid surprise costs, plan driving shifts, and keep everyone calm in the car. The link's below. Let's talk about the 6 things that you actually pay for. Most people overspend on trips because they don't know what they're actually paying for. It kind of all blurs together. The gas, the food, the lodging, the museum gift shop, where you suddenly need to get that buffalo-shaped cookie cutter. Here's the truth. Road trip money only goes into 6 buckets. Once you see them, the fog starts to lift. So the 6 buckets are, number 1, lodging. This could be hotels, motels, cabins, camping. You get the idea. Number 2, the gas. Do a quick calculation. Number 3, food. Groceries, eating out. You get the picture. Number 4, activities. Tours, park fees, museum admissions, that kind of thing. Parking cost, toll roads. Pretty straightforward. And then number 6, your miscellaneous. That forgotten phone charger or sunglasses. Souvenirs. Once you see these buckets, you can decide where you want to splurge or save. Not where Instagram says you should. And in a minute, we're turning these buckets into a simple daily budget. Before we crunch any numbers, you're going to need to choose a lane. This will set expectations for the whole trip. Lean and cheerful, plan $120 to $170 per day. Think camping or budget hotels, picnic lunches, and mostly free activities. This is the kind of trip you care more about the views than the velvety headboard. Your next option would be a comfortable middle, or about $120 to $260 per day. This would include mid-range accommodations, a couple of meals out, and probably one paid highlight for your day. My trips kind of end up in this range, possibly in the budget range, but somewhere in there. And the final choice would be the treat yourself option. This would probably be closer to $300 to $450 per day. Nicer stays, multiple meals out, and signature tours. Perfect for an anniversary trip, maybe a girls' weekend, or just because you finally get that PTO time approved. It's not really about cheap versus luxury. It's about what you want the most and putting your money in that category. So you need to choose your lane and then customize it. Let's tackle the number 1 that everyone guesses wrong. Gas. The quick formula for this is take your miles, divide it by your miles per gallon, and times it by the cost of gas. This will be your gas cost for the trip. Example, 1,200 miles divided by 28 miles per gallon times 370 per gallon. Your gas cost is going to be $158. If you don't pay attention to your miles per gallon, look it up online to see what your car's average miles per gallon is per factory. But then subtract 10% because, real life does exist. And if you're climbing mountains and have a full load, you're probably going to want to add 10% to that. Multipliers will keep your budget honest. So you don't show up in Jackson, Wyoming during July and find everything to be 2 to 3 times the normal price. The gateway towns around Yellowstone are expensive. Some common multipliers for this are as follows. Big cities or resort town, multiply by 1.2. Peak season, summer or holiday, multiply by 1.25. Weekend nights, multiply by 1.1. National Park gateway towns, multiply by at least 1.15. You might even want to go closer to 1.5, especially in peak season. Cooking most meals, multiply by 0.85. If you're camping half the trip, you can drop your lodging down by 25 to 40%. Tiny adjustments now to save for giant stress later. Only add multipliers for the categories they affect. Don't multiply the whole budget unless you really like chaos. Alright, so now let's get to that 15-minute budget that I was talking about earlier. Grab a notepad and let's dive into that 15-minute build. Line 1, trip length. List your total days and the number of miles you plan to drive for that trip. Number 2, number of nights multiplied by the target rate. In other words, if you're staying at budget hotel, a luxury hotel, camping. Number 3, gas. Your miles divided by your miles per gallon times the cost of gas. Number 4, pick a number that fits your daily lane. Are you eating out a lot, a little, not at all? That kind of thing we talked about earlier. Number 5 is activities. Add the big ones here. A boat tour, a private tour. You get the picture. Number 6 is the parking and tolls. You're especially going to want to consider this if you're staying in a big city. Line 7 is going to be a cushion. Add 10 to 15% of everything above. Now divide your total by the number of trip days. That number is going to end up being your daily budget. If that number feels too high, change your accommodation or your activities first. They end up moving the needle the most. I'll give you a quick example. We'll consider a 4-day family trip that's budget conscious, we'll say. So let's go through the line items. Line number 1, lodging. We'll say 110 times 3 nights. So you're going to have $330 in lodging fees. Gas, about $100. Food, we'll say $95 times 4 days, or $380. Line 4 would be activities. We'll say $120. And then we'll consider parking and tolls. We'll add $25 for that. And then our cushion is going to be $96. So the total for that trip would be just over $1,000, or about $260 a day. Even budget trips can hover around the same price per day because food and lodging end up doing the heavy lifting. This is why daily numbers are so powerful. So where do people accidentally overspend? There are 3 sneaky budget busters that I see all the time. Are you ready for them? Number 1, last minute lodging. Think football weekends, gateway towns, or Saturday nights in national park areas. Book anchors early. Number 2, the one more activity syndrome. Pick one highlighted paid activity per day. Let the rest be free. Viewpoints, overlooks, walks, scenic drives. You get the picture. And number 3, city parking and tolls. This can add up fast. Add a line item for every city day. A tiny plan today beats a big surprise later. You don't need to count every penny. You just need a realistic daily number and a few smart adjustments. And if you want help pulling that together, grab my stress-free road trip travel guide. It's packed with exact systems I use to prevent money fights, surprise costs, and those late night, why is lodging so expensive moments.